Now a ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian Islamic Jihad after 3 days of Israel's military operation. Let's bring in Aviv Bushinsky, the former media advisor and chief of staff for Benjamin Netanyahu. Aviv, good afternoon to you. Israel deeming the operation as a success, but I want to ask you how this will translate in the polls for Prime Minister Yair Lapid as well as the opposition.
It's a good question, Hamdah, because usually after a successful military operation, there's a tendency to adhere to the leader who conducted the operation, but I'm not sure that this will be the case now. First of all, usually when we have some extreme confrontations with the Palestinians, there's a tendency in the Israeli society to move a little bit to the right. And second of all, even though the current prime minister managed to conduct a successful operation, I'm quite doubtful if there'll be a shift from the right bloc to the left bloc. So I think that it will be more of an inner game between the blocs. In other words, maybe Yesh Atid, it's Yair Lapid's party, will gain few seats, but it will be most likely on the expense of the Labour Party or the Blue and White Party.
I also want to ask you, we saw quite a united front between Defense Minister Benny Gantz and Prime Minister Lapid, and now perhaps some contention between the two over who deserves credit for the operation. But in your opinion, who do you think needs to get that credit?
First of all, it's true, but we talk all about perception, and we saw that both leaders, Gantz and Lapid, try to be seen in the war room, taking pictures, photos, announcements that they just finished another meeting, another session, etc., etc. And this is a good question because let's say, first of all, that Yair Lapid will gain more. So if it will be at the expense of the Labour Party, then they are in danger of passing the minimum threshold, and this will diminish the left bloc. If it will be under the expense of Benny Gantz, who says that he is the only one, Netanyahu, who can form an alternative government, then Benny Gantz will pay a heavy price. I think that the next coming polls will tell where things are shifting to, but we have to bear in mind that 85 days before elections in Israel, it's way long time. Hamdah, you remember that President Biden was here and everybody said, this will help Yair Lapid to get more seats or potential seats. We were talking about the living expense and the economy. Suddenly this disappeared. And we have holidays. So I think it's quite premature to jump into conclusion. But my gut feeling is that in the end of the day, which is quite a surprise, it will help more the right-wingers because, as I said, when there's a confrontation with Palestinians, people go more to the right and maybe want a more vigorous act or whatever. So I think that the best result that Yair Lapid can get is more seats, but it won't help him, it won't pave his way to be the next Prime Minister of Israel after November 1st.
And one last question for you. I'm wondering how Israel can leverage its diplomacy from this operation. We saw some outcry from the international community regarding it, but will the international community be as responsive with deeming it a win for Israel?
I don't think that we'll see in the near future any diplomatic initiative. And I'll give you two examples. One is that when Yair Lapid met King Abdullah in Amman, he said that they talked about regional issues and security, etc., etc. He didn't, in his press release, he didn't even mention the peace process or the issue or the conflict with the Palestinians. I think that now, when less than 100 days before the elections, everybody's running away from this issue. This is number one. And number two, maybe we don't have a strong leader that can or have enough guts or courage to promote such a thing. And what we can say that most Israelis still think that since there's no solid partner on the other end, it's not the time to talk about diplomacy. So I think that this will not be the issue. maybe Meretz party can still talk about it, but this won't be part of the campaign, neither Netanyahu, nor Lapid, nor Gantz.
Aviv Bushinsky, the former media advisor and chief of staff for Benjamin Netanyahu. Thank you.